Hey, this is Damon from Black Barrel. Just sort of been playing around with my setup and effects and tone, just to try and get a good setup feel for the sort of music we do. Just, as you know, as a metal hard rock sort of feel. I've just been, playing around with trying to get a good tone and stuff like that. So I'll give you a run through of the equipment I use, and then, I'll go into specifics on, settings and stuff like that. Just so I'm doing this video just so you know what to sort of expect from us as a group for live performances and recordings. So first I'll give you a basic rundown on the equipment I use. My amp is a Line 6 Spider 2 amp, 210, which it means it's got the two 10-inch speakers in stereo, with 120 watts being split across them, so 60 watts each. Line 6, pretty good brand. I like them a lot. I did have another amp about this size beforehand that was really shit, and I just didn't like it at all, so I sold that and got this one. You got your basic tone controls. It's got built-in amp models. Like you got your clean, your twangy sort of thing, blues, crunch, which is based off a Marshall stack. Metal, which is just a really metal sort of thing, and insane, which is my favorite distortion setting. It's the heaviest on the amp, and it's probably half the reason I brought this amp. You got you can have 4 settings stored, so you can switch between them and such. You've got 2 knobs here for effects built in. These ones are for your flanger and chorus, phaser and tremolo. And this one you got delay, tape echo and sweep echo, which is I think a Line 6 specific effect. You won't get it on any other amp. Of course you got reverb, as with any good amp. You got your tap for your delay, and if you hold it down, it's got a built-in tuner, which is pretty handy. Of course, you got your master, on-off switch, and all that sort of junk. Okay, down on the floor, I have my FBV Express board, which plugs straight into the Line 6 amp. Pretty much, it works with that hardwired into it. It's got your 4 buttons for your different channels. It's got a little thing for a tuner. If you hold these 2 down, it'll cut the sound off and turn the tuner on. You've got a pedal here, which is used for either volume or wah. It's a little click. Turn wah on. Volume back on. Stump boxes I use are a Behringer digital delay pedal and a ultra phaser shifter, also from Behringer. And I've also got a Vox wah, because I like the sound of this wah better than I do the amp one. It's got a deeper sound to it, and you can just get a really much deeper sort of more depth to it than the digital one. Also, if I don't have access to this particular amp, or an amp in which I have I'm able to turn distortion on and off with a pedal, I've got my little Metal Zone pedal, which I use in practices, because at our drummer's house I've only got a small amp and I'm not able to turn distortion on and off on the fly, so I've got this nice little pedal to do that for me when I need it. But it's a nice pedal, but I just haven't decided to put it into my initial setup for the amp, because the amp has pretty good distortion on its own, so I don't really need it. My guitars, I've got two guitars. I've got my first guitar is a Fender Squier Strat. It's not a bad guitar, it's pretty cheap. You know, you got your whammy bar, your standard Strat pickup setup, and all that sort of stuff. I don't use that too often because I've got this guitar, which is probably the main one I use. It's a ESP LTD F50. It's got the two humbuckers, which is a lot better for metal than the Strat. You know, with that I've got the three-way switch and a fixed bridge. Okay, now into a bit of detail on how I've got things set up. Okay, from the guitar, I've got it running into my wah pedal. You know, and that's pretty self-explanatory. There's no detailed settings on the wah pedal, it's just on or off. You know, you control it. That's it, nothing fancy. Got that then runs into my phaser, which I've got a slow sort of setup with a lot of depth to it, which allows me to, you know, have a bit of fun, get a bit wider range of sounds with either clean or distortion. Delay, that then runs into my delay. I have that set on sort of a, I don't know, I'd have to say like a mid-range sort of thing with a bit of feedback. You know, yes, so I can get a bit of more, puts that bit more of a body into my playing, solos or whatever. Now, as I said, and then from the delay pedal, that runs up into my amp. From the amp, I've got the pedal plugged in up here, so it's a specific plug for the pedal because it runs with a line 6 amp, and then it runs into the pedal, and this pedal is what I'm using for my volume pedal and my distortions, my varying distortions. Okay, and a couple of little effects. Okay, this one's the basic clean distortion using the crunch setting with no gain at all, so it's got a really nice Marshall sort of clean sound to it, which is I really like, especially when I turn on my delay. With that, I've got the same setting again, but with a lot of flanger and chorus on it, just to get that bit more of an epic feel with chords and stuff like that. That's my clean section of the board, and then up here is my distortions. This one's just a basic hard, you know, distortion, really heavy, using the insane setting on the amp. Yeah, I use that mainly for riffs and stuff. It's a really nice setting. It's got a good tone, and I like it a lot. This one is the same setting again, but with chorus and flanger on it for solos that have a lot of body to them, with the delay turned on. That's pretty much set up. You know, that, as I said, is just a volume. I only use volume because I've got my own wah pedal. And yeah, pretty much that's it. The tuning I use on my guitars is tuning I like a lot, which is it's a drop D flat, so it's pretty much drop D but half a tone down, a semitone down. At some point I probably might put up a little demo, just showing you guys all the sort of settings, how they sound with actual riffs and stuff like that. Anyway, that's all for now. Dan from Black Barrel. Can't wait till we can show you what we're like at a gig or something. Bye.